So shapes or symbols for cleansing. And I thought of a couple interesting ones. There weren't any like lesser banishing ritual kind of things that they're kind of more general than the banishing ones. So we're going to talk about them. So some traits for cleansing shapes. Okay, so most of the shapes that are used for cleansing, it's about the same thing that the medicinal cleansing herbs are for, this energy and motion. So it's not being like trapped or static. It's about like letting things flow out of your life or letting energy go and be released and to have like a space that is cleansed or your own or back to the way it was or however you want to look at that. Um, so, containment, there's a boundary or rhythm that channels energy safely. So, most of these have like they kind of designate like a path for cleansing and for this energy to move in. You'll see what I'm talking about. So, again, like repetition, like a lot of these shapes imply repetition. So patterns that cycle, they things that soothe the nervous system, regulate energy. They're things you can meditate upon as well. They're definitely symbols that are often used for meditation and for like you can use them in spell work. You can if you want to do deep cleansing, but they're definitely like imagery and symbols that cleanse the mind and body alike. So this just the circle is cleansing. So the circle is about wholeness, unity, flow, and it's a bound. I'm sure I'm going to say that. It's a boundary. So it's like protective, cleansing boundary in witchcraft. So you cast a circle. You create a container. Like a circle is a cleansed container in theory. So you create a sacred neutral space that's separate from the exterior chaotic world where you can do magic and have a sacred space. So the circle is the first symbol that we're going to talk about. So it's also, like I said, it implies motion. There's circular movement. And a lot of times in spell work, people move around the circle. It like the circle in and of itself is a dispersal of stagnant energy. It like stirring clockwise for drawing in purity, counterclockwise for releasing purity. Like it's the what you're moving is in a circle. So it restores harmony. So, how do you use the circle in your spell work? You can like draw a circle and people don't like it insult, but whatever. Don't salt the land. I don't know. You can get salt from the land. So, okay, it'll kill stuff though, but you can use salt or you can use whatever like you want to use to create to draw the circle. You can draw a circle with visualization though, or with light, with candles around the circle. So you can like any way that you want to draw a circle with a wand, you can draw a circle to visualize whatever you want with energy. So that's the use. Okay. Obviously the spiral. So that's and in fact that's like the 13th step. Like when like it's what's her name? Starhawk, like tells us that
Mm.
like when you step out of that circle onto like the next level, like that's like the 13th step. Like and there's 12 in like a clock, and the 13th step takes you into the spiral, right? So the spiral is about leveling up, about evolution, about release. And then also the other spiral is about returning to center. So you can see these are kind of like two interlocking spirals. So returning to your center or moving up into that 13th step or whatever. It's a symbol of flow and purification. And they're ancient. They're not, this is not like something that I made up or that Starhawk made up for like our own special, like witchy modern uses. These spiral patterns are seen in Celtic, Minoan, and indigenous traditions in America. They represent breathing and water currents and cyclical energy movement. So they are used for moving energy. It's about moving energy. It's about moving energy and evolving. It's about newness and renewal and all those good things that we've been talking about. So when you're using a spiral, the energy, if you move inwards, it cleanses and grounds you. If you move outwards, it's expelling toxic or negative energy. So you can create a spiral. You can trace a spiral with your hand or wand. You can walk in a spiral. You can do a walking meditation in a spiral. You can we've used spirals with when we do smoke cleansing. Like often we will move our smoke in a spiral. You can use visualization of spiraling. So the spiral is a definite symbol for cleansing. And then the wave or flowing lines. These are also ancient symbols. So this is not like Rebecca creating symbols. This is like, so this, of course, because even in the tarot, when you're talking about cleansing, you're talking about water and air, and you're talking about like movement of energy. So you're talking about moving things. This is not stagnant, seated energy like earth energy. This is about emotional cleansing and releasing through movement. This symbol it's of course obviously associated with water and with emotional purification, but it's seen in Egyptian, Japanese, and Greek art as like a motif of like renewal. So it's used in those cultures as a symbol for cleansing and renewal. So it like mimics the waves. These look like waves. That's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be waves, and each wave is supposed to be pulling away what no longer serves you and returning to clarity. So that's the idea of this, is that you're moving away, cycling out the negativity or other people's energy or that which doesn't serve, and then returning to a state of balance and equilibrium in your own space and your own energy. So you can use this anytime you're using water rituals. So we talked about those baths, showers, when you're doing ocean meditations or breath work or using breath work in like wave-like patterns. But when you breathe in, you can even do a breathing pranic meditation on waves by imagining your breath sounding like the waves of the ocean. So you could even like visualize this imagery and do like a meditation sounding like listening to your own breath as the waves of the ocean. So we're going to talk about this more, but the crescent moon, the symbol of the crescent moon, where is it? There. I've got another one there if you have there. So the crescent moon. So both times when there's crescent moon can be used for cleansing, and we're going to talk more about that. So the waning, releasing, and the waxing, restoring. So the crescent moon is really an image of cleansing in both senses. The waning crescent is especially cleansing, though, I would say. That's my opinion. And it's like use it for banishing psychic residue, emotional heaviness, old attachments. And like you could use it like just like I said, when you meditate on any of these images, like meditate movement through the image. But like the moon itself, if you're meditating on a moon image, you're already talking about water. You're already talking about tide energy because the moon is so tied to like water and movement and that sort of like rhythmic moving energy, ebbing and flowing. That the moon and the moon energy and using the moon energy as symbolic is like always going to be like used for cleansing and refilling. It's always this idea of cleansing. So you can draw the waning crescent on your skin. I have it tattooed. Or you could draw it, like scribe it into a candle when you're releasing energy. Visualize moonlight washing over you. Do your ritual in a waning crescent moon or at the time of a waning crescent moon. And the downward pointing triangle is another symbol for cleansing. And this time we're talking about femininity and we're talking about water and femininity and purification through feminine watery imagery. Um, in alchemy, this downward pointing triangle, it represents water. So this is the medium for emotional and spiritual, just everything we've been talking about, how water is tied. Balancing inner and outer flow, dissolving tension. Like that's what it's all about, folks. And this downward pointing triangle is just another perfect symbol of that. And you can use the downward triangle, like you can use it in a sigil, like incorporate it into a sigil if you do sigil work. I don't do a lot of sigil work, but if you do, enjoy. Oh, you can lay out your altar in the shape of a downward pointing triangle. Um, you can, especially if you're making like a little mini altar, like near your bath or near your shower or during a ritual about cleansing or renewal, all the better. And then this lemniscate, or however you say that word, but it's basically the infinity symbol. And it is a symbol that's in eternal flow, continual release, continual flow, and movement. So you can see it above the magician and the strength cards in the Rider Waite deck. It's like a loop of transformation, it's a loop of renewal. And it's a constant exchange. It's like the ebb and flow of the waves and the tides. It's like this constant exchange, giving and receiving, inhaling and exhaling, like being in balance, like cleansing that which takes you out of balance or disrupts this emotional scene that you have going on, creates a roller coaster. This like meditation on the lemniscate takes you back. So you can visualize it like over your heart, over your crown, like the magician, to reset your flow, to really cleanse your energetic. Is that
My squirrel's
your
knocking.
squirrel? To really cleanse your aura, your auric energy. If you um posit you like filled with as a person filled with strength or filled with magic like the magician able to like move things on earth and as well in heaven and earth. You can trace it with smoke or water to cleanse imbalances. So now colors, do you have any other symbols that you think of when you think of cleansing, or did I cover them?
No, I think you're good. I don't really
Do you
my
use
scroll's going crazy.
symbols?
I don't really, no, not really. I mean, I could see your reasoning for all of them for sure, but that's not really I don't gravitate towards that.
Yeah, you know what? Sometimes in meditations I do. I like the moon symbol a lot, especially the Mother Maiden Crone moons. Um,
Yeah,
it,
I like the symbols and like water and stuff. I don't usually like do anything with them. Like
yeah, I'm not
I don't
because I'm
draw
not a
them on
sigil
myself or
maker
anything like
and
that. No, me neither.
exactly. Maybe if somebody told me to meditate on them, I would.
Oh yeah, me too, for sure.
Or
I've never like felt called to do that though.
I would walk a spiral or a some sort of
Hmm.
labyrinth for like
Yeah.
renewal or cleansing if I was so inclined. I just have never been
Mm.
so.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not against
Same.
it, but yeah.
No.
So I've got three of these colors that that are
Mm.
usually associated with cleansing. So white is usually associated with cleansing. It's like universal cleansing. It's like a reset to the blank canvas. It dispels darkness, restores neutrality. It's connected with air and spirit, which is interesting. So, if you wanted to do a cleansing, you probably should be using white candles and maybe white clothing or white cloths, white smoke. Um, White's all about wholeness and completion and releasing attachments. So then, of course, air and water, like we've been talking about, that's what cleansing is, the two kind of things. So, blue is associated with water, connected with water. It's about emotional purification. It's about peace and truth. And you can include blue candles or candles for calming inflamed, like especially if you want to calm like fiery emotions, like we've talked about. During water rituals or to for healing and forgiveness. So blue is going to slow your vibration, taking it down a notch, soothing overactivity, bringing you into a balanced emotional state, restoring the flow. Finally, my last one is silver. Okay, so silver can be associated with the moon, and we've talked about that being helpful with cleansing. Especially if you're doing things that are more intuitive or using intuitive cleansing, you may be you may gravitate towards silver or using silver, but you can use silver really like in your cleansing rituals. So you can use like silver candle holders or silver bowls. It's reflective and mirroring. This kind of mirroring is going to cleanse just through the light of the reflection on the mirror. So this is what we're talking about. We're talking about not just like through use. I do have colored lights that I use, but also this reflective cleansing can be used by using silver items. So it's going to wash away psychic residue and heighten your intuition and it reflects negativity without any absorption of it. Um, anyway, that's that. So cleaning versus, and I'm really interested before I even talk about like what do you see? Do you see any difference between cleaning or um,
Cleaning or
cleaning or
cleansing?
cleansing herbs? Do you see any difference?
Um, I think that there would be a big overlap, but in my mind, it's the same herbs for different uses. Cleaning would be like something in the physical, like cleaning out my digestive tract or cleaning my environment, like using, an herb to help like clean my countertops versus cleansing would be more like esoteric, spiritual, I think. But in my mind, they're the same. It's just how you use it.
That's kind of okay. Perhaps that's exactly you like going word for word. Why don't you've already said my whole spiel there. Perhaps there's a difference, but the difference is like pretty subtle, and that's where it
Yeah.
lies. Like
Yeah.
cleaning implies something more tangible, like you're cleaning
Mm.
the floor, cleaning a counter. It's about hygiene, freshness, like purification of a material
Hmm.
realm. So, like, they also have a different kind of cleaning herbs may have a different association as well. They could have like some earth association as well, especially if you're using them to like wash floors or like windows with herbal infusion. So, um, like adding herbs to vinegar or soap for ritual house cleaning is kind of more cleaning. You could
Mhm.
Yeah, so this is like,
Floor, like
yeah,
a floor
cleaning
wash or
rituals,
something.
sweeping,
Yeah.
washing, dusting with an intentional focus. So that's
Mm.
cleaning herbs and what you could do. So all of these though could be cleansing too. Like this is parsing
Mm.
out minutia to me. Like how, I mean, like whatever. Like you could be
Yeah.
if you're doing a ritual and using herbs in some sort of vinegar or soap for some sort of house cleaning, you're cleansing. Okay, you're also. So it's kind of like whatever.
Yeah.
However, like cleansing could go further. It could be more, you're right, more like spiritual or internal or medicinal. So, because cleansing herbs, so they work on this energetical or emotional or spiritual plane. It's not about removing dirt, it's about removing a heavy energy or stagnant energy. And they're usually associated with air or water. I don't rarely fire, but mostly air or water.
Yeah.
So we've talked about all these things. So that's
Mm.
kind of where I feel too, the same as you. So if cleansing removes what doesn't belong, who decides what belongs? Okay, so I've got some ideas on this. There's two schools of thought. Okay, so there's the first school of thought is this that I've come up with is you decide who what doesn't belong, right? I get to decide what doesn't belong. It's like a personal gnosis view. Like I have personal gnosis about what's wrong with my like state, and then I decide, right? So, like this idea is that like we are guided, we have a subjective active discernment and it's guided by our emotions or by our intuition or whatever. And it's like when things feel off or heavy, stagnant or foreign, like that's like what it is. So, and then if you're going by this perspective, like all the authority is going to reside in you. You're the practitioner, you make the decision. Um, like we've talked about, it might be from a hard conversation, bad energy, or like a fear that's not even your fear, or some subtle residue left by other people or other people's moods. So you feel that you're the authority in that. And then, like, when you cleanse, it's like sovereign work. It's like you're reclaiming your own space. You like are saying like this is my space, I decide what stays in my space. So the goal then is to align like your space or your person in an authentic way. It's not about objective or external balance, it's about what you feel, it's about what restores you and your coherence. So magically, it corresponds to personal intuition, lunar work, self-directed ritual. You can use cleansing as boundary setting, self-definition, and inner listening. So if you're going by this version of individual or personal gnosis, like if you're talking about medical, medicinal, or psychological language, it's about self-regulation and noticing things, sensations, emotions, tuning into your body's own natural cues to like make you feel safe and make you feel in a sense of health. So then I was thinking though, like, is that okay? So I totally feel this is huge. And when I cleanse, this is like a huge part of when I cleanse. But it occurred to me that maybe like there's also like another part to this that if we just solely focus on this, we may be missing. Okay, so there's another side to this. And so, like, maybe another perspective that there is some sort of natural order, and there is like some things like that if we just focus solely on our objective feelings of goodness or badness, medically or spiritually, that we may be missing something. There may be like some sort of objective or universal view that we can discuss. Okay, so that like when we are cleansing or when we are getting like back into like balance, that we are restoring harmony with something larger than ourselves, like whether it's like nature or the cosmos or our own personal homeostasis in our bodies or spiritual law, that like there's something like even if we don't feel it, like something could be off. And like if we're just like relying on our feelings all the time instead of like also maybe doing like a generalized cleansing once in a while, or like there may be things that are seeping underneath the floorboards that are like rotting us from the inside out that we're not like being aware of. So from this perspective, there like could be like some sort of inherent like balance to the world, or like an inherent like rightness or wrong like that's going on, like that we can see in like the humoral theory or Ayurvedic doshas or the Taoist yin and yang theories, that like there's like some like hard balance that like we are missing if we are just focusing on our feelings. So cleansing, then when we talk about that, it removes what disrupts equilibrium even if we can't consciously perceive it. So we can do cleansing like even if we're not perceiving the disruption, because it may be subtle, or it may be in a place where we have a blind spot. Like we have blind spots to things. And so we may not be consciously perceiving like this out of balance situation, but it's there. And so like the authority then, if you're going just strictly with this theory, it would be in like pattern and principle. Like you may not feel a congested chi or spiritual impurity right away, but the over time, like this imbalance could build into like irritability or illness or stagnation or disconnection. And but it's going on nonetheless, even though we can't feel it, and it could reveal itself in something bigger and more like drawn out if we just let it like fester. So cleansing can be used as an act of like recalibrating ourselves, not just like the personal field, but like our relationship to the universal rhythms and to the seasons, to planetary forces, to cycles of decay and renewal, like things that are like solid and sure, and like not just about like we feel like the season is this season because I'm here. Well, I shouldn't say that today. Like right now looking outside, like I can't just say I feel like it feels like summer and so I can like use summer herbs and act like it's summer. It's not summer. Like the seasons have changed, and that's like a based on like solstices and about planetary motions. It's not about my personal feelings about hotness or coldness or air pressure or something like that. So magically, um, this perspective aligns with traditional ritual purity systems where the act of like cleansing is about restoring us like in harmony with some sort of sacred law or divine order or the structures in the cosmos. So medicinally, it's about the body's natural like detoxification and immune system. Lots of times people like cleanse the body like on a regular basis, do like a regular cleanse, even if they don't feel out of sorts. You may not feel like imbalance of inflammation or toxicity, but your internal system, like that you can't feel like it your body knows. And so these like cleansing practices of sweating or fasting or purging or lymphatic massage, they help restore this equilibrium even when you can't like outwardly feel it. So my personal feeling, so I think that there is something to both of them. Like that there's like that we cannot disregard either like system. Like it's kind of like a combination of both. Like it's a dance between both of these, and they both, if you feel like you need to cleanse, you should always cleanse. Okay, but you may put like a cleansing ritual into your regular system, like of doing ritual. Like you may want to like cleanse like at a certain moon phase that we're going to talk about every month, or once a year do like a major cleanse based on like the season, spring cleaning or whatever, um, both have a place, is what I'm saying. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't think that I really do anything that I don't feel needs to be done necessarily, but I don't think that that means that I'm like negating that second slide. I more look at it as like I agree that there's two, but my view is like physical or non-physical, I think. So like even if I don't know. If I'm like I do like juice cleanses, right? Usually like once every couple of months I'll do juice cleanses, but I do them when I'm not feeling great. Like if I've been
Mm.
feeling off a little bit, I'll do them. And so I'm still kind of, I guess, relying almost intuitively on it, but when I look at the two different types from my perspective, it's like physical or non-physical, I guess. But I don't disagree with that second one. I think maybe like doing some type of cleansing, even if you feel okay, is like fine. I don't usually look at it that way, but I can definitely see the like insight from that point of view for sure.
Yeah, and I think that like kind of like the idea, I kind of look at it like cleansing your space before a ritual is kind of
Hmm.
like that second slide. Because you may
Hmm.
not feel like anything is off or wrong, or sometimes we get
Hmm.
together for ritual and everything feels great. Like we feel
Yeah.
fabulous, but we still
Hmm.
cleanse before ritual because it's like
Yeah.
part of like the magical practice of creating a sacred space, regardless of
Hmm.
how we feel about it. So that's kind of where I was going,
Yeah,
like
that's
when I
true.
thought there are times when you do that. And so
Hmm.
it may be wise to think about that and just to
Yeah.